Okay, so I drew this up. I took a picture of this out of my backyard because I had better lighting out there. I hope you guys can still see my head. Sometimes when I switch screens, even if I move the screen with my face, it will kick it out. So hopefully it's still visible in the shot. But essentially here, this is a picture that I drawn up. And what I wanted to highlight here for you guys is what I am seeing in terms of these 18-dimensional gates, and how I see the energy functionings of what's happening on a global level in accordance to other activating stargates at this time, and how things are actually playing out in terms of manipulation of those particular Aquilin grids. This here is the Temple Mount Court, encased in, it's somewhat of like a cube. It's a rectangular structure or a square structure. This is kind of important how this is around the actual octagonal dome rock here. You can actually pull up better pictures on the internet. So if you just want to Google search architectural structures of Temple Mount, you're going to get much better pictures. But I wanted to draw this just because I wanted to draw it in accordance to how I was perceiving things. Okay, but essentially this square structure around the Temple Mount, this retains the quantum energy within geometric dynamics. Okay, so these are strategic designs for encapsulating prayers, encapsulating quantum energy, collective energy that they use upon the judgment day. Okay, that's what the Well of Souls is known for. And so basically they're striking hail and hellfire into the abyss of chaos. And I'm going to explain that more as well. This also, because of this square structure around the Temple Mount, this may also connect into the Saturn moon matrix design, because we see squares, we see cubes, we see black cubes, we see this over areas where the Saturn moon matrix is running. We also see this where black sun portals are starting to release. Essentially, I've talked about the black sun seal and that cap on ascension progression, that it has placed a 10-dimensional cap within the central vertical planetary ascension column of the planet. Okay, a lot of that's starting to fall away because more of the Aryan occultism timelines are starting to come to fruition. They're starting to awaken. They're starting to unthaw. They've been frozen light, essentially. But so we see those black cubes over where Saturn moon matrices are running. So this is by design. And if that's true, right, that means that all square architecture on the Earth, period, is feeding into this Saturn moon matrix chain. Okay, square architecture. So our houses are square. We're living in square houses. Okay, so on some energetic, etheric level, that's all playing out on a quantum level. Okay, but that's not the main point of focus for this picture here today. What I want to talk about the most is the locations of the gates themselves. So these gates, you can see I have labeled here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 18 around that square structure. Okay, see, these are actual physical gates that are located around the entire court of the cube of the square structure. And these are doorways. When I say gate, I mean a physical doorway that somebody can walk through. Okay, these are all around as entrance points into the main structure of the temple, into the main structure of the Stargate. But each one of these doorways, each one of these gates are actually spinning in the anti-clockwise motion, which is a magnetic spin. So the spirals downwards into the inner earth. Okay, that's 12 open gates that they have spinning in an anti-clockwise magnetic pull down into inner earth. That's pulling like a vacuum. This is also pulling into the Bermuda Triangle. So I'm going to kind of explain that. But essentially, each one of these gates are smaller connection funnels, I want to say into the solar gate systems of Giza, Egypt. That's why I said that's a highly activated system at this time. Also into Saqqara, Egypt. Okay, pretty much every gate really that sits on that 30-degree north horizontal ley line. So you can see here in my really bad drawing, I put the planetary 30-degree north horizontal ley line. That's where all of these stargates are essentially sitting. Okay, it's right on that line. So everything is funneling down into that ley line. This is the global line of planetary control. Don't forget that this also runs through China. Okay, so a lot of countries, a lot of systems, a lot of galactic nations are feeding off of this particular ley line, and it's the ley line with the most turmoil on the planet, essentially. Stuck energy. It's the most dangerous ley line. If you are a quantum life energy trying to navigate through this, trust me, you might not make it out alive. Okay. I feel this is a link to the fabrics of the Aquilian networks, okay, and also to the Atlantean cataclysm. The fact that what I'm seeing is this there's an inversion happening here. So it's an inversion funnel that's sending quantum energy. So you could see my little scribbles here. This is a quantum exchange, and this is funneling this energy from this gate site to the Bermuda Triangle. Because remember, Bermuda Triangle and this particular Stargate are all in relativity to that 30-degree north horizontal ley line. And I also want to say that the Lion and the Aquila grid are actually at war. And it's 3:33 right now, my time. And this is what they keep trying to cover up. Okay, if they want to create so much confusion, they don't want to let you know that the Lion grid and the Aquilian grid are constantly at warfare over control. Okay, so these are the two grids that are constantly at heads with each other. And it's annoying. It's like two little naughty kids that have never been taught any respect for their elders. They've never been reprimanded. They're just allowed to run amok and create infantile type messes all the time, with no, I guess, discipline. And they just keep repeating the shenanigans over and over again. So that's kind of what's going on between Aquila and the Lion grid, is they're constantly at warfare. If you don't know about the Aquilian network, please see the link in the description in this video. I'll leave a link to a video I did on the Aquilian network. And if you check out the Cosmic Grid Update, the Anunnaki Stargate, the one that I recommended in accordance to why I keep calling the Temple Mount the Anunnaki Stargate, please see that video. I do explain the Lion grid more in that video as well. But you will notice around the building, around the Golden Dome, the actual circular dome here in the center, there's an 8-sided octagonal geometry around it. And so this is important to notate, because this is used at all high powered solar stargates on the Earth, including the 4th planetary stargate in Giza, Egypt. In Giza, Egypt, they're running octagonal encoding into the landmass. If you pyramidal view the actual pyramids, they are octagonal shaped. The 8-sided structure is the most dominant geometry that runs at the most powerful stargates in the world. Okay, because it's such a high solar geometry. It runs the Melchizedek, the Merovingian solar living light codes into the landmass. The architecture affecting human behavior, the hive mind biological simulations for authority of land power, and several other reasons, right? Too long for me to list here today, but I kept getting glimpses within this octagonal dome, within this octagonal geometry architecture. I kept getting glimpses of diamonds here in the octagonal encasing. Okay. So come to find out that slave owners in Israel are undergoing raging wars as we speak over diamonds. That And it's just interesting how the research ties in. So shout out to my Diamond Sons Human Line group for bringing this stuff forward, because you guys are amazing. You give me a lot of this intel. But the diamond export is one of Israel's number one financial gains. But Israel itself does not contain any diamonds. So how is this happening? It sounds like a lot of shenanigans are playing out here, right? I also see that this may be related to the Cygnus connections, right? That supernova blast has something to do with this as well. Because I keep seeing through what I keep hearing the words humanically cratorial-like energy structures that are being they're sinking down into the ground. It's like a bowl. So this is what the Well of Souls is. Okay. It's a cratorial structure that actually vibrates off the moans of man. And it's pulling into the ground. It's pulling me in when I remote view in like a vortex. And so what I keep seeing is that there actually might be extraterrestrial matter down there, metals down there, and different types of non-human chemistry, like non-earthly chemistry, that are not on our periodic table. That this is kind of down there, and what keeps this area so activated. I also see that there's golden technology there too. So under the Well of Souls and underneath, I put another line underneath there that there's actually a gold plate. Okay. And so there's a lot that's happening here. It was designed specifically this way. This was passed down from Enlil. This was passed down from Abraham. This was passed down from Moses. This was passed down from the Anunnaki fathers. This was gifted to them to build the King of Solomon temple on that first foundational stone this way. Okay. It's like a boiling soup bowl of plasma, of powered magnetic plasma that sits on top. Okay. Right underneath. I don't think I fully explained this, but I kept seeing the Temple Mount as an inverted image underneath. So what that gold dome is above, that gold dome is below. I seen an inversion of the same golden dome below as a spinning Merkaba. That's why I placed it down underneath here. So you see like my inversion line, the inverted image of the Temple Mount below, the Well of Souls below, the line below of another additional temple that's underneath the Well of Souls. This goes down even further. And this is where the tunnel systems begin throughout Jerusalem. So there's actual secret tunnel systems in Jerusalem, deep in the heart of the city, where you can go and actually find more gates that will lead you to these tunnels. So this spinning golden Merkaba basically gave me, when I accessed it, it gave me access to Nibiru. So I actually seen Nibiru. Okay. And they kept showing me, as I accessed that every day is 1,000 years for what we can account for here. And that all of those records of that information are held here in the Well of Souls. But besides that, I also seen something else. I seen that there is a sense that the Islamic Quran is in agreement with the Sumerian text. There was like what I seen when I scanned into it deeper, that there was like an echo here of an Anunnaki assembly that was basically appearing in and through the Islamic sound frequency, all through the Temple Mount as I scanned in. Okay, it was really wild. I kept seeing Islamic eagles that looked equivalent to the Anunnaki. Okay, so there is a brotherhood here. There is a brother in here. I also kept seeing overlays of original tribors playing out around the dome, right at the gate, the particular gate that is called the Gate of Tribes. Again, anti-clockwise spin here, sending this frequency into the earth. Okay, so this is like where the core essence of every religious warfare is playing out. You can see why there is a 1,000-year war here going on that is never ending. We just forget about it and it comes back, forget about it and come back. And this plays straight into the soul egregores of the 12 tribes, the ones who left Egypt and came to the Holy Land to find the promised land. I'm being shown that at that Gate of Tribes, that's what actually leads into the Lion's Gate. There's a gate there with a lion's head in front of it, and that leads into the Lion's Gate. So the gates, the overlays, they are interconnected, and they are functioning off of one another, but there's just a lot of blockages in between. But it all kind of makes sense to me now. Okay, so the Muslims are guarding every facet of the dome. Okay, also the fourth planetary stargate in Egypt as well. We can no longer ignore this fact. Okay, this is fact. The Muslims control the fourth planetary stargate in Giza, Egypt. The Muslims also control the Anunnaki Stargate in the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Why are the two most powerful stargates on the earth in their hands? What does this tell us about who is really controlling the planet? Okay, that's the Muhammad's. Allah, prayer to Allah. Okay, and with those eagle connections, also my experience going to Heliopolis, I visibly was seeing the eagle emblem everywhere through the Islamic military. Okay, that is the global headquarters of the Aquila patriarchy network on Earth. It is running from Heliopolis in Egypt. There is no longer any doubt about this in my mind. The Mohammeds hold this torch, and they are the ones enforcing this world through the Anunnaki Stargate, through the Aquilan grid. You have to remember the Aquilans hijacked the Seraphim's identity. Okay, that's a very real thing that is playing out here. That is why serpents are demonized globally on this earth. And why is it that the Jews can only access one of the functioning open gates at the Temple Mount? Why is it? All remaining 12 gates that are functional, rotating anti-clockwise, functional, not the sealed ones. There's 6 more sealed gates. Why are they only allowed to be accessed by Muslims? Okay, so Muslim prayers of men over the age of 40, those are the only people that are allowed to go into and pray into the Well of Souls. Well, the Well of Souls is a funnel system that generates quantum energy. You see my little quantum funnel here to the left, and generates into the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, it's an inverted power generating line on the 30-degree north horizontal ley line that goes right into the Bermuda. This is the fall of Atlantean technology. Okay, it's wild. I keep seeing the quantum exchanges right at the point of the contact in the inversion funnels. It literally blows my mind and makes me almost want to cry. At the same time, I can visibly see how the Earth grid is being controlled by the patriarchy through quantum spiritual technologies, Tothian technologies, polymorphism technologies. They are only allowing prayers to Allah into the Anunnaki Stargate. So does this mean it's hijacked? Or does it mean that Muhammad was an Anunnaki heir? Was Muhammad in Orion Nibiru Royal? Okay, what does this have to do with the Stargate of Aden? Okay, what are they protecting here? What are they hiding here? It's important to know that the Islamics have purposely closed certain gates to prevent certain things from happening. Okay, their prevention is protection, they say. They say they're protecting things from happening. But they sealed 6 of the gates since the medieval Islamic times, okay? they closed off the Golden Gate. Now, this is the gate that the Messiah is supposed to walk through. They closed it off. Okay. The Golden Gate is the only gate built on the first Solomon temple. So I believe personally, from what I've seen, what I've psychically scanned into, what I've researched, links in the description for as many references I can possibly give to vet out information yourself. I believe that this Golden Gate, this is the root of the war. Here is what needs to be lifted. So if you're a global healer, you're an energy worker, you're doing grid work, you might want to focus some healing to the Golden Gate. This is what needs to be restored here, is where the third Messiah will walk through. And here is where the third temple of Solomon will essentially be rebuilt. Okay, this is, I don't believe that this gate is necessarily along this wall, but I believe the Golden Gate is off to the side of it somewhere. But not with the Aquilas here. This cannot happen with the Aquilian grid being the strongest grid on Earth. You have to realize that the Lion grid is not the most powerful grid here. The Aquilian grid is. The Aquilian grid runs the world, and they will prevent and stop at all cost anything from coming through that Golden Gate. Okay? Until the regime of power shifts, we will not see prophecy technically unfold. And it's interesting because Christians want the dome destroyed. Jews have lost access to it mostly. And the gate technology is the inner mechanics that are basically propagating the entire global patriarchy control. Okay. That's kind of what I see here. I almost see Muhammad as a descendant of Enlil. And I've been getting a lot of messages that Enlil wasn't the good guy. Enki was the good guy. Okay, so some of you may disagree with that. That's fine. But I can't deny what I'm being shown and what I feel and what I see. The war is still between the brothers at the end of the day. So when did Islam come into the picture of the Sumerian timeline? At the point of being unplugged, at the point all galactic wars were basically erased from your memory. This is the largest stargate on Earth that contributes to reincarnation. You have to remember, this is the largest stargate on Earth that contributes to reincarnation. These are not Trinity gates. These are not little gates that are harvesting, solution. Yeah, there's other gates that are doing these things, whatever. This is the largest stargate on Earth that contributes to reincarnation. And they are using the pit of soul, the cave of souls, the well of souls to reap punishment upon man through Islamic prayers. Have you ever heard the Muslims pray? Now, I don't have nothing against the Muslims. I don't have nothing against Islam. I actually enjoyed my experience in Egypt. I thought that everybody was very kind and very catering. I had the best time. But have you ever heard the seriousness of the Muslim prayers? You probably haven't, because they don't honestly allow women, because it is a patriarchy society, they don't allow women into a lot of these prayers, the prayers of 40-year-old men and older. Okay. They pray for wrath of vengeance upon one's soul, for what they consider sin in the most form of brutality. It is very brutal. Okay. And this is what is being sent into the Earth grids here. This is what's being sent into the Bermuda Triangle. This is what's being transferred back and forth from Saqqara and Giza, Egypt, operating under the octagonal geomancy. Okay, this is why we are blocked from our true Anunnaki ancestors, because this is a seal. This is a seal here. Saqqara, Egypt was where reincarnation technologies were fully developed and studied the most. And this is also linked and merged into the Anunnaki Stargate. This is the beginning point of the promotion of the fallen masculine systems, is what I have been seeing, essentially. So I know this is deep. I know this is quantum. I know this is diving and stretching into it. But there's a lot of truth here. Like I said, I highly encourage you to vet this information out yourself. Do the research yourself. I'm not making this stuff up. And I'm not telling you anything that I haven't seen directly with my own third eye. So this is what I'm bringing forward today. I don't really even know what to say or where to go from here. I kind of feel like I need to take a step back and sit with a lot of this information and let it see where it guides me to next. I really still want to work on a new seal removal as well. I feel that that's very important in terms of a lot of the things that are coming forward at this time, but I have yet to see deeper into the Solomon seals. I know that they're much more than just seals to control light and dark entities. So I'm going to be diving more into that research here. And I love you guys all so much. I hope that I didn't get too serious with it. I hope I wasn't scaring anyone today. Please check the references and please check out all of the recommended videos from this energy update today. And if you would like to join my Patreon, please feel free to do that. Patreon.com/IndigoAngel. Did just put that recent visualization to remote view into the Temple Mount if you would like to look yourself. Also, you can find all of my services at IndigoAngel222.com. If you'd like to work with me more interactively, if you'd like to do a J seal removal, starseed origin reading, you can find me at IndigoAngel222.com. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter because I do put a lot of this stuff in writing and send out monthly to you guys as well. Okay, everyone. So I love you all so much and namaste, guys.